what would you ask of us?
Well, you know, it's funny because people see all the stories, and we've got a couple people that Sentinel that write that stories and have our picture in there all the time. But people don't see the background that we struggle all the time. We're a local small black organization that really can only do what we do by all the different partnerships. I'm glad that Cassandra called in. Girls raised in the South called GRITS. We got the 100 Black Men that we partner with. We got another organization called the Hispanic Services Council that we partner with. We're partnering with the Hillsborough Community College. We partner with the CDC. We can't do what we do without partnering with all these other organizations because we're still a small organization.
And you partner with the Hope Center.
With the Hope Center, we'll reach out and partner with whoever will reach out and partner with us. But what we really need are our local black businesses or our local minority businesses to get behind us and help us. We Bank of America is one of our largest sponsors.
Biggest benefactor.
Biggest benefactor, along with Verizon, along with JP Morgan Chase. These big big monolithic corporations. But we need some help in the small businesses.
Right.
We have a technology bowl coming up. We try to our youth are going to be competing using the knowledge that they've gained for high level technology prizes, and we need folks that'll sponsor.
We need small businesses involved. I don't want to cut you off, but we're going to get to the phone line because we're almost run out of time. Welcome to Honest Opinion, keeping it real, making it happen. What say you, caller?
Two comments and a request, if you will. First, I got to say how much this topic is important. Now, you are the outlet source using radio as a vessel to get the message out. Because most of the time, the real people that can use such services don't know where to go or how to get involved. So I appreciate you all informing the people in the right direction. Also, I want to mention that Brother Hakeem mentioned in his monologue how the youth is a battery source to help motivate and help push for change. And we must not allow the divide and conquer strategy to the old versus the young. We must work together. The young lady mentioned to me the other day that if the youth represent the fruit of tomorrow, then the tree must be strong and the soil must be rich. I also want to mention that the Community Development Center on Hillsborough, they got all kinds of free assistance, helping one become better prepared in the job market. And last but not least, I missed last week's show. How can I get a copy? Who Paul I got to grease? What Lord I got to praise? Jehovah Jesus, what I got to do to get a copy of the show?
Just see me. My number is 813-267-1600. And that's for any of the listening audience. We record our shows. And if you need a copy of any show, please don't hesitate. Give Brother Hakeem the Dream a call. Again, that number is 813-267-1600.
Or you can go by and see him on Fashion on the Boulevard where he sell all those nice dresses. And you want to buy a dress, buy a dress. It's at Columbus Drive and North Boulevard. Go see Hakeem the Dream. Fashion on the Boulevard is a standard bearer in our community. Been there 27 years, right on the corner with all those beautiful dresses. You can get the CD and you can go there and you might see the mayor on that corner. Never know.
Never know.
Welcome to Honest Opinion, keeping it real, making it happen. What say you, caller?
Hi, this is Ernest Tony with the CDC of Tampa.
Very good, Ernest. Thank you for the call. Go ahead.
One of the things I just wanted to mention real quick, when we framework this, we talk about community staff. Well, we know that 50% of our kids don't even graduate from high school. And only 6% actually attend college. The work that your panels are doing and the work we're talking about empowering people, talking about giving them an education and computer skills, they feel confident they can go to college. When you talk about having a private school where they teach teachers that look like them, that's huge. The CDC has been able to put over 500 kids into college. That's going to totally change the lifestyle they had leaving the inner city area and then moving into middle class society. So again, I want to applaud all the work that our panelists are doing. And as a community, we have to come together. Private sector, what Rock was talking about is hugely important. Don't just sit back and look at community trying to do things on its own. Try to take the entire village, private sector, with the people.
Very good. Thank you, Ernest. That is the Executive Director for the CDC of Tampa, doing some great work, founded by Chloe Corner. We thank you for that great work that you're doing there. Let's go back to the phone line. Welcome to Honest Opinion, keeping it real, making it happen. What say you, caller?
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Hillsborough County Branch NAACP. Congratulations. Yes. Right. Excellent program. I want
Thank you.
also congratulate you and Hakeem for doing that. God bless you.
Thank you
Okay.
very kind. Appreciate the call, man.
Oh, that was it? Oh, okay.
I love it.
I cannot believe Dr. Collins. Maybe that's it on air, but I want a little bit more. But that is the head of the NAACP, and I want to say about Dr. Collins, she's been collaborating with CARE and with the Civil Rights Coalition, making sure the voting rights stays intact with Reverend Justice Jackson last week. We're doing a lot of good things in this community. It's just not highlighted, you know, and we have to toot our own horn, and we have to highlight the great things we do in the community. And that's why I'm thankful to Hakeem the Dream for having a vision to have this show and making sure we remain on the air. A lot of props go to Hakeem because we will not be on this air. This is actually a paid-for program. Hakeem organized and get our supporters together to make sure we stay here, so we were able to highlight good things in the community, able to have good topics and have a forum to do that with. We're almost out of time, but I want to go back to Muslim Without Borders. You've been very intriguing to me because you don't see young people involved in relief efforts and talk about reaching around the world. How did you get involved in this? Because when I met you, you was a volunteer at CARE. Like you said, just volunteer, come to a banquet, get a t-shirt and go home, and then you became a youth director for Muslim American Society. Now, the evolution to now, medical school and Muslim Without Borders. How did that development through service happen? Real briefly.
Well, you know, to be honest, I think it's what a lot of folks would call coincidence or serendipity, but I truly believe it was prayer. And that's how it got founded. Our founder, he can tell you many stories where in moments of sincerity, things would come into play in a way that you couldn't describe. And for me as well, that's how I met him. I met him in a way that no one would ever guess. And 8 months later, he called me saying, I've started this relief agency. I want you to work for me. And I was already working full time. I had to rearrange a lot of things in my life, but he said, I want you, and nothing else will do. And so that's how it came about last September, actually.
And do you collaborate with other organizations that are not Muslim, other faith traditions? Do you collaborate with them?
Oh, absolutely. We work with any students, whether they're Muslim, Christian, atheist, Buddhist, Hindu, anything like that. We sponsor local organizations that do local work, just like Ralph's doing. We have a women's shelter that we sponsor in Baltimore for abused women who are fleeing domestic violence or any kind of drug use or anything like that. And so we're definitely trying to make
that's
sure
relief too.
Yeah, we try and make sure that we have domestic development as well. It's just as important, if not more important, actually, because these
Well, I'm
are
glad to hear that
areas,
because a lot of people said Muslim organizations just work with Muslims, and I wanted my other two guests to know that y'all can do some collaboration.
Oh,
with
absolutely.
them. Work with Raf, work with Pastor Dean, and that's what it's all about. And I was invited to a church last night to speak, and they wanted me to come out and talk about Islam and what Islam represents. And I was telling them that the faith community, people of the book, have to work together.
Absolutely.
If the society is going to change, good Christians, good Muslims, good Jews, we have to be out here spreading the goodness of what we say we represent. And that's how the world get changed. And we can do that. Pastor Dean, we got some similar history. I spent 10 years in Miami. You come here from Miami. And came quiet. Came like a quiet storm. You didn't really make a lot of fanfare. What approach did you take in getting results that our listeners can learn from? You did that building on 29th and Lake, a little bit at a time. You used your 2 sons. Tell about it. When I came out there and seen you working, I said, this man out here with 2 little boys, 12 and 13. And I seen the work, the building coming up. And I asked you, I said, what's happening with this work? And you said in your Jamaican accent, just me and my 2 sons. I looked at a man like he had 9 ears and looked around at all of the building coming up. I was impressed. Tell me about that. We can learn from that, brother. Please, our listeners can. Tell us just that. What embodies that kind of spirit?
Well, it's not just me and my 2 boys, but they are my primary help. But we do have other individuals that's from the community, you know, that was very instrumental in that. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I always teach my kids that you got to give yourself to what you want. And you don't realize what can come out of something until you have given yourself to it. And I found that that's what we did. From the get-go, we always lead a very conservative life. We put our future before our present. Because a lot of times we are so caught up with what's going on around us that we're not making adequate plans for the future. And that's what we did.
Put our future before our present. I mean, what jewels that been announcing? Hakeem, let's talk about next week's show very briefly, and then we'll do closing remarks. How about that?
Okay, I'm really and truly looking forward to next week's show. but I hope that I may get some early minutes to talk about this debt ceiling.
Oh yeah, well that's no problem. You're the host of the show, Hakeem the Dream. You can take some minutes. The debt ceiling is important, and take some time beginning of the show and talk about it. And you know, cause you stay on MSCP and all the T. You took to that political scene, and I am too. So we do want to empower our listeners to hear about that. So we'll have a little time to talk about that next week. But let's talk about the show next week. Africans and African Americans. You got Africans that come immigrate here from Africa, from all over Africa. From Senegal, we have a great connection with the Senegal community here. Ghana, East Africa, Kenya, they're all here in America. So next week we're going to have a professor of pharmacy from Kenya. His name is Dr. Barack Obanya. He's from Kenya. He's from Kenya too. And he lives in Tallahassee. We flying him down just for this show. He's going to be doing a reception that evening at Cafe Kili over on Fowler, which is a Kenyan restaurant. They do a lot of spoken word over there. We have him. We have Yasin Akil, who is have an organization doing import and export, where he's doing business with Africa and doing business with other so-called third world countries and import and export business. And we're going to also have African ambassadors. It's another charitable organization of doctors, African doctors, basically Nigerians, that do charity work in America, in Tampa. They're based in Tampa and throughout Africa, specifically in Nigeria. So we're going to see why this disconnect between the indigenous African American and the African. Let's try to bridge that gap, Dream. That's what we're going to try to do next week.
You know, and just listening to the panel we have, and we always try to have a diverse group of people. But when you listen to the message, there's only one message. So it's just that the people has got to see what others doing and join on with that group, and that group join in with them. I don't think it's systematically, being exclusive. And if it is, it only lasts for a minute or two, because it's not the nature of a human being. You can pick mixed kids from every different nationality in a room, and they never meet you there. But you come back an hour later, they're playing and having fun, and they act like they know each other all their life.
But there's some serious disconnects, though, that we're going to talk about. And there's some serious culture differences, and there's some serious standoffs. You have communities in Chicago with a full African community that don't interact with the south side of Chicago. So there's some serious issues that we want to explore, so to bridge the gap.
Yeah,
not to exploit it, but to bridge the gap and ask questions. Why the indigenous African immigrants don't have this strong relationship with us? If I went now to Africa, I would have to bond with the Africans that's there, because I have to learn from them. And so we would think that would happen here. We're going to go into deep discussion about it next week. We got to get the closing remarks, I can.
Okay, about several years ago, I had this idea, and I forgot what the theme was, but it invited all people.
It was a cultural, African cultural unity. You did it.
Yeah.
I remember that. And you brought, I was about, what, 17 African countries? We did it over there to the Orange Blossom.
That's right.
And I remember that.
Yeah.
And you had, all of them brought their own culture, all of them wore their own cultural clothes. And food, they brought the food. Yeah. Oh, you ain't gonna forget the food, of course.
Think about that now.
It was really, really, really nice, and we pulled that off, and that was a great event. We want to thank each and every one of our guests. We're going to give you an opportunity now to do your closing remarks. Why don't we start with you, Ralph? Give out a phone number, website, and your closing remarks, sir.
All right, they can find us at www.computermentors.org. Our phone number is 236-1191. They can get involved by coming and donate their computer. Or buy a computer for $125 from us.
$125?
$125.
And you got laptops and desktops?
We don't have laptops, just
desktops. Okay.
Or sponsor a kid in the technology bowl. But I want to thank Akeem and Jarvis for having us on.
All right, give us that number again slowly.
813-236-1191.
All right, that's Ralph Smith, Computer Mentors. Pastor Dean, Hope Center, Executive Director. Give out a website, telephone number, your closing remarks, sir.
Yes, my phone number is 231-9177. Our website is at Bible Truth Ministries, .org. We're always looking for volunteers, for individuals to come out, especially our center on 29th Street, so these kids can see some of the adults in the neighborhood or in our community, interact with them. And if you ever have any programs or anything, we'd love to facilitate it at any one of our buildings. The one on 2902 East Lake Avenue, or the one at 4902 North 22nd Street.
And give out a phone number, Pastor D.
231-9177.
And he's exactly right, because I did my home safety expo over there in June 18th. Had a great turnout. Charlotte, shouts out to Charlotte, and the whole staff over there treated me with just so much dignity and all my people that came enjoyed it very much.